They're gonna start showing meetings.
Oh, on time?
Yeah.
Oh.
What time you know, is just get.
All right, if everybody else is ready, we're ready. We're gonna call the March 7th Public Works Standing Committee to order. Are you good?
I am, and it's 9th.
Oh, March 7th. Oh, interesting. Who had that mistake?
You got the old minutes or the old agenda.
March 9th. Copy that. My fault. First item of business, proof of notification, Mr. Elder.
Yes.
Agenda approval. 16 point is what is correct? Is that correct?
So move.
Moved by Cosgrove, seconded by Cooey. All those in favor of approving the agenda as presented signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. All right, we've got an agenda. Previous minutes. Those were presented. Any additions or corrections, questions? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve as presented.
I'll make motion.
Cooey. Cosgrove.
Yep.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. All right, we've got the minutes approved. Public comment. Did we have any public comment tonight? Everybody here is either involved with bidding process, so we are, I failed to say that at the agenda approval. We're gonna bounce around a little bit tonight, so. Barbara, where'd she go? She disappeared. Coming back? Or she's answering some calls? Otherwise, let's jump right into 11B, fuel bid review. Mr. Elder.
All right, at the door, I gave everybody a packet with bid information tonight, and I will also put it on the screen for everybody to have.
What is that?
Second. Okay, so this year we're looking at contracting our fuel for the entire year of 2023. We're going for the best price per gallon. We sent the bids out to 3 different vendors. We did get responses back from 2, which is Inside FS and Vestbach. So what we did was we asked for the best price per gallon using the Junction City Opus UBD rack average plus or minus per gallon. And then we also have it broke out to see the transport price and their taxes and fees with a grand total of what their price per gallon would be. The other thing we've also asked them to do as an additional item, recommendation would be the replacement of our current fuel pump system. Our fuel pumps are original to our facility. They do need to be replaced. By selecting one of these 2 vendors tonight, we would go into a contract with them to make them our fuel supplier for the next 5 years, in which time they would upfront cost of replacing all of our fuel system, bringing it up to date, and then they would allow us to pay it off over the next 5 years, in which case we would own that equipment outright. The additional payoff would be cents per gallon, broken out over 5 years. Insight came in at 0.223 cents per gallon, and then Vestbach came in at 0.25 cents per gallon. We do have these people here tonight. I would ask, with your permission, Mr. Chair, that they speak on behalf of what they're presenting tonight. We could start with Inside FS.
Yes, sir.
Good evening. Yeah, I guess there isn't a lot to say about our bid other than the fact we've been servicing you for the last 4 years, since 2018. I think we've proven ourselves well over the years. We currently monitor your tanks to where we watch the market when you will actually fit a load. We normally check with your operations manager here and then confirm that you want a load put in the tank. We check your tank on an annual basis to make sure that you don't have any water in it. So there's additional services just besides providing the fuel. The monitors we had provided. And I think that the pricing when you use Junction is a good base cost price. Yet I think there's maybe a better way of looking at it too if you were to entertain that. But it's a good way to compare different businesses on an even plane. But I think we can service you well over the next 5 years. As far as the tank lease, we call it a tank to lease own program. We do this on a regular basis. We have a lot of probably about 6 or 8 customers today that are currently on it. After 5 years, you actually own the tank then. So that 22 cents would actually drop off, and you then own your tank and you get the full value of your transport load values. It's actually based on gallons, not years. So we took your average gallons from the last couple years, multiplied that by 5, and then divided that into your estimated cost. So really, if you go through more gallons, it'll be paid off before 5 years. If it's not paid off in 5 years based on those gallons, we decide to either extend it or you pay for it up front and then own the system. I know we haven't experienced any problems over the past. It's been a good working relationship, and things have worked out real well. So really, it's kind of that simple. If you have any questions for us, we'd be happy to answer those. One other thing I'll touch on as well is this is a premium product at the rack. So it's a rack offered premium. So it's that's included in the price. We also offer we call it a Diesel X product that Growmark produces that we think is a superior product in many different ways. And it's a little bit more costly. So that could be a conversation that we could have afterwards if you wanted to go to that instead of the rack one. But right now it's a rack product that most others will bid the same way. So I don't know if you have any questions, but otherwise that'd be it.
Anybody with questions for Inside FS? Anybody, Richard or Steve, online with questions for Inside FS?
Mr. Chair, I got a couple questions.
Go ahead, sir.
One, I just wanted to make sure we know whether the two quotes have equivalent tank offerings, whether they're comparable. And then I don't understand how the quality of diesel varies. I just also want to make sure both quotes have the same quality of diesel.
Okay, so both quotes would have the same quality of diesel, which is noted up in the bid description that you can see on the screen as a CTAN rating is no less than 41. That also, what that does is establishes the quality grade of fuel that we are getting, and it is a comparable system between company to company. We used Metco because that's who Inside FS or Vespak would use to replace it. It's the same system. They're both bidding on the same system.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, nobody has questions. Let's hear from Mr. Vespak, please.
For anyone that doesn't know me, my name is Eric Vespak, and I'll be speaking on behalf of Vespak Oil. We're a family business. We've been in business since 2007 out of Viroqua. I've been working with the family business since 2013, so I have roughly 10 years of experience now. One thing that I have learned over the 10 years is that our customers really appreciate transparency and being black and white with them about things. And one thing that I think that's very important for Richland County as well. Everything's black and white and transparent. One thing I would like to say is, I see their bid is a little bit better than ours today, but I'm willing to put our reputation on the line saying that over the next 5 years, I can comfortably say we will be black and white showing you that, just because you get a good price today, this isn't showing you what you're going to get for the next 5 years. So I'm willing to sit down every year and show you, what the fuel is costing, what I will be charging you, just so everybody's clear, and not saying any disrespect to FS, because I'm not saying that they would take advantage of you, but I just think that being black and white and everything laid out is very important. So, any questions?
Anybody here in the room have questions or online?
Yeah, I've got a question.
Mr. Carroll.
The way the tank's being paid, it's over a 5-year period, but what if we switch suppliers before 5 years?
Well, I guess, Oh, go ahead, Josh, sorry.
So what it would be locking in is it'd be your fuel supplier every year. Now, every year you still have a right to go to bid for what your best fuel price is going to be, but you're basically staying with the one supplier. But every supplier plays the same market, runs the same numbers. So it basically comes down to who's going to supply your fuel level of service more than anything. But if you do exit out, then you would be going out of contract. And at that time, you would have to pay for your fuel system outright for what is still owed. Am I correct? Correct.
Did you understand that part, Steve?
Yeah, thank you.
Yep, yep. Basically, we're kind of signing a 5-year contract, but we can bid it out every year. And after year 1 or 2, we would have to pay the balance of what's owed on the fuel system if we would go with a new supplier.
Correct.
Okay. I guess no other questions.
Well, my question would be to John, what's the advantage of 5 years, just other
Well, putting tanks in, we came in with an estimate from Metco to do the whole thing under about 48,000, so we gave it some room to $51,000. So $51,000 would be an outright cost. Now, we could do that, and just do it all in 1 year or spread it over 2 years or however you want to do it. I felt it was most advantageous for the county to spread that cost out over several years. Again, you're getting good level of service from your supplier.
I have one more question, Chair.
Yes, sir.
What happens to the old tanks?
The tanks themselves are not what's being replaced. Those are in good shape. They pass their inspection with flying colors. It's the pumps themselves that are the problem. The pumps are wearing out. They're blowing fuses, relays, fittings, things of that nature. The pumps themselves are starting to go bad. So that's what we're looking at replacing. We're going to a new updated system that allows us to track every gallon of fuel that's being used. Currently, right now, when a person goes to get their fuel, they fill their truck up, then they're required to walk over to the scale house, we call it, and they have to fill it out on paper. And a lot of times fuel is not getting reported correctly. Is why we want to update to a new system.
So the salvage value is nil then?
Nil.
All right, thanks.
And again, I leave it in this committee's hands to make a decision. We can proceed forward and do it ourselves, just pay for it and still contract our fuel for a year, or we can let them upfront the cost and just pay it off over a period of time.
With the 23 or 22 and 25 cents, is there any interest on that money? Okay. Yeah, back to that fuel system. Yeah, it's going to be a system where are they going to just punch in a operator number or something?
So they will pull up to the fuel pump and they will punch in their truck number and employee number, and then it'll track everything from there, how many gallons are being used.
So then that's the division again between state and county as far as fuel as well.
Correct. We'll be able to track all those costs to their correct places where they need to be charged to. Another reason why I felt doing it this route, spreading your cost over a period of time, is $50,000. Yes, we could absorb that in our revenues, but we do have other things that we could look at updating in our fleet of equipment. So it just helps lessen the burden.
Do either of you know interest rate? Roughly, I wouldn't hold it to you, but. Mr. Cosgrove, he's our online accountant here. What are you thinking?
It's pretty remote right now.
Yeah, but I know we've got a lot of stuff to replace out there, but I kind of think, like Mr. Cooey, maybe we just ought to. Well, the one thing I like about that is next year, we're not worried about, all right, whoever gets the bid today, then we can still research more fuel bids every year without, not that they're going to hang it over our head, but.
Well, again, that's why I put it as an additional item, just for that reason. If we feel like we would just want to do that cost ourselves, we can, and then we select them as our fuel supplier for this year. Or if we feel it'd be better for the highway department to spread that cost out, we can do it that way too. Either way is fine. It's just an additional item for consideration.
Mr. Carroll, any thoughts on the outright purchase versus paying some interest on the estimated $50,000?
I don't care which way we go, as long as it doesn't give us a hiccup on our budget for this year.
I don't see it giving us much hiccup on the budget this year.
Then I don't care which way you go.
Well, we got more stuff to get done. Anybody want to entertain a motion or an amendment or however you want to?
I guess,
Mr. McGuire? Mm-hmm.
Somebody needs to use their mic.
They can't hear you online.
So the question was if it's an apples to apples comparison between Inside FS and Vestbach under the gallon price, transportation price, and taxes and fees. Yes, that part of it is the apples to apples cost. The additional information, the 55,000 gallons of annual fuel that we use is only used for the basis of the payoff for the updated fuel system. That's the only time that comes into account. But again, that would be apples to apples.
So you look at the final number. Mr. McGuire,
All right, okay, thank you.
yep, 320 versus 328, basically.
so I'd make, take Insight for to put our own system in.
I would second that motion. Anybody want to discuss it further? Mr. Carroll, did you hear the motion?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Mr. McKee, are you hearing us?
Yes, I am.
Any questions? I forgot to ask you.
Nope.
Okay. If there's no further discussion, all those in favor of going with Insight FS's bid and putting in the fuel system at our own cost, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay? All right, that is passed. Thank you, gentlemen. Yes, sir. You want to go to that, or Barb, how much time you got? What time you got?
I'm good.
We're good for a
I
little
got
bit?
40, well, I've got 40 minutes.
Where you gotta leave? Where you gotta be there?
I'm gonna leave.
All right.
I don't drive that fast.
All right, we're gonna do, which one we got next, Josh?
Let's do the low boy since I've been this year.
Yep, we're gonna go down to 12A for the lowboy trailer. We do have a vendor here. 12A, Mr. Elder.
Okay, so this item was originally brought up several years ago underneath Commissioner Bill Kahn, and at the time he brought up wanting to do this, he didn't have enough money left in the equipment budget for the year to do it, but he did identify our need, which is stated in the bid description. So what we did was instead of putting out RFP, we basically seeked out who had trailers available, who was willing to work with us. We reached out to at least a half a dozen different places. Most of them dropped off the radar, couldn't get back, had nothing available. So the people that we were able to work with was Midwest Trailers, Brooks Tractor, and Teagler Auto out of Iowa. So starting with Brooks Tractor, they're a pretty pricey trailer. They came in at $68,000 after trade-in. That was one thing we had for value was trade-in value. So we have two different trailers that are available for trade-in. One would be our existing lowboy, and then the other one would be a tilt deck that we purchased back in 21. In 2021, when we purchased that tilt deck trailer, it seemed like it was going to be a good trailer, but we found out really quick having spring ride, the height of that thing off the ground with the incline to climb made it quite dangerous for loading equipment on. We had several occurrences where we almost tipped a piece of equipment over, and we deemed that trailer just not good enough for what we needed it to do. So we decided to trade it in if possible. So Brooks, who we bought that trailer from, would only take that trailer, the tilt deck trailer, and that trailer alone, and on bid towards the new one, which would have been an end tire. So with that one, we had purchased that trailer in 2021 for roughly $35,000, and Brooks Tractor would only give us $28,000 on trade, which gave a settling price of $68,000 towards the purchase of a new lowboy trailer. And then we found another one through Teagler Auto, which was a used trailer, 2014 model. And again, he could only take the tilt deck trailer and on trade. And after trade in, he only was able to get us $34,962.50 for a used trailer. Midwest was really good to work with through this whole thing, right on the ball with trying to get us information. He is willing to take both of our trailers in on trade, giving us $14,000 for our current lowboy, which is a fair market value in my opinion from what we were able to find online. and then give us 32,500 for that tilt deck trailer, which is close to what we paid for it brand new with a settling deal of $29,442 for a brand spanking new trailer that would be available to us August of this year. He is here today and from Midwest, and he will speak on that.
Hi, I'm Terry Stamfel from Midwest Trailer Sales in McFarland. Josh had reached out to us to get a bid on a new XL specialized trailer, which is our mainstay trailer for construction equipment. It's built in Manchester, Iowa. It is a absolutely outstandingly engineered piece. We do a tremendous amount of XL trailers during the course of a year, okay? I have sold similar trailers to the Grant County Highway Department, to the Iowa County Highway Department. They have my equipment as well. So we have a very vested interest in getting a trailer into Richland County as well. So in saying that, we are probably going to be an August trailer, okay? We're gonna push that as fast as we can with supply lines and those kinds of things that are still a challenge. It's a very good equilibrium when it comes to what we can tell you, what we can provide and when, okay? So there is some of it that's still kind of a hip shoot, but we're very confident we should be able to get you done in August, okay? Those kinds of things are out of my control. Once we get the trailer ordered, you'll get an engineering schematic. That's when it goes into play as far as getting a build date done. So the quicker we get it in, the quicker you'll receive a piece of iron, okay? I would have the opportunity to take anybody to go see the plant in Manchester if they would so desire to go. I just had clients down there from Lodi, Wisconsin yesterday. It's a very, very informative venue that those guys do down there. So I'd be more than happy to take whoever would have some interest in going down there to see that. The numbers speak for themselves. We put our best foot forward in order to get Richland County's business. And I'd appreciate that if you've got any questions or whatever, feel free to fire them at me.
I will say at this point, it's also often brought up about apples to apples. So when we went to approach these people looking for trailers, we were trying to stick to a 35-ton capacity, which is about 75,000 pounds of hauling weight. We were looking for a hydraulic detached low boy, which is different from what we currently have. Right now, we have a trailer with a pony motor, they call it. It's a small gas engine that powers the hydraulic system, and you have to be specially trained how to use our existing trailer. We've trained several different people, but you still need to know how to use it, and it's caused damage because they forget when to pull pins and how to set things properly. Detach will make it a lot easier, especially having a paver design trailer as well. We went for a tandem axle trailer versus a triaxle just because we didn't need something too big that we couldn't get anything done with. The other thing we looked at was having a larger deck space. The deck space that we're currently looking at with the new trailer is 26 feet. Right now in our existing trailer, we have about 24 feet of deck space, which is currently not big enough to put our triaxle trucks on when we need to haul them off to have them worked on, and then it costs us the tow bill. So we want to have a trailer big enough that has the capacity to haul our larger paver, has enough space to haul our triaxle dump trucks. And then with this new trailer, we would also have the ability to put the skid loader on the back of the trailer and haul two pieces of equipment at once, which would save us overall hauling costs on projects.
One thing with that, guys, because you can put several pieces of equipment on this, as you said, it was a time-saving factor as well. We changed the degree of the incline to the back deck. Most of them are set at 32 degrees, which is not conducive to putting a skid loader on and then up and then in. It'll get hung up. Now we're at a 23-degree transition. It lengthens the trailer out a little bit and then offers a longer rear deck. So if for whatever reason you need a broom and a skid loader on the back of it, you'll have the capability of getting that on the back of it. Okay? So, if you've got any questions for me, the one thing that I do request from Richland County, being it is this time of the year, I need to get those trades done. I need to get them in play so that I can move that equipment, being it's the spring of the year, okay? If it's not gonna come in until the fall or something like that, then I'm gonna sit on them for another 6 or 7 months. So I would like to get everything compiled, on a timely basis is what I'm asking for.
And we have the capabilities of doing that just because we have other means of being able to haul stuff in the meantime for a short-term solution, so we can move those trailers out to him to get them moved.
That would have been my question. Mr. McGuire?
That, especially that number one trailer there, the Midwest Trailer Sales, is that a bumper hitch trailer to one of your tandem dump trucks, or is that a fifth wheel trailer to
That
a
is a,
tractor?
that is a fifth wheel trailer to a semi-tractor.
Okay.
And again, we've been trying to do this for several years. We have equity in that existing tilt deck trailer right now. We'd like to utilize that for it. We lose value in that.
Mr. Carroll or Mr. McKee, any questions for our gentleman at the podium?
None for me.
No questions.
Motion to purchase mid.
Motion by Cooey, second by Cosgrove to purchase the trailer from Midwest while we're trading in two. Any further discussion on the trailer bids?
I just want to say that, again, we do not have an apples to apples comparison here, okay? All three of these are different. Very difficult to make a decision when they're all different.
It's fairly simple to understand, Mr. McGuire. We're trading two trailers, getting rid of the two that we want to get rid of. Otherwise, we're stuck paying $68,000 for a trailer versus paying $30,000 for a trailer. What part don't you understand?
It isn't that I don't understand it, it's just that you make it difficult to understand. They're all three different instead of apples to apples.
I think what you're looking at is the overall price of the trailers, and the biggest difference that you'll see is like Brooks and Tiegler, they can only accept one trailer and on trade versus what he can take and on trade two. And then the prices come down to what the value of their trailers is from different manufacturers, because everybody offers a different name branded trailer. The one from Tiegler is again a used trailer, which is an XL. Midwest is a brand new XL, but Brooks offers entire. So it's, when we put the bids out there, we put them, or when I'm asking for bids, we're putting out what we want as apples to apples. This is exactly what we're looking for, and this is what we have to trade. And then it's up to the vendors from there to give us what they can provide as their best possible option.
Okay.
They were all given the same opportunity to take both trailers in on trade. This is the only one that's willing to take it on trade. Satisfied?
I guess I'm satisfied.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the trailer? Otherwise, all those in favor of purchasing the trailer from Midwest Trailer Sales signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Nay. All right. Trailer is done. Garage doors? Thank you.
Sounds good. All right, moving over to garage doors. As we all found out this year, we are in dire need of new garage doors. We had to do two underneath an emergency replacement because they literally blew apart in the middle. One was in the middle of the night, and that creates a problem for us because we need to be able to get trucks in and out of the building. And when our garage doors fails, we don't have that capability. The garage doors that we currently have at our facility are again original to the building and have way outlasted their life. We actually have road signs holding some of them together. So two of them had already been replaced underneath emergency repair. So today we are looking at replacing the rest of the doors. So in your packet information and on the big screen, you'll see what the bid description that we sent out. We were looking for 3 20x16 insulated doors with automatic openers. We were looking for 1 16x14 non-insulated with an automatic opener, and 5 16x14 non-insulated, and those just open manually. And then 30 openers that we can distribute amongst the trucks. Another thing we noted on there was we wanted a R-value rating, which is your efficiency rating of the doors, how much heat you can basically retain. We decided to go with 18 or higher. Carries stainless or carry seamless gutters and doors, which are out of Belmont. They can only offer R17 through their manufacturer, and they come in at $69,385. David Allen sales and service and installation come in at $45,450 with an 18.4 rating. Garage Door Express, who we've been using, came in at $58,905 with an R18 rated. Northland Door Systems came in at $75,749 with an R17.5 rating. Obviously, two of them fell short of the R rating that we were actually looking for. Again, you're going to see a big jump between the prices, but that's because of what their manufacturer or their brand name of door represents of what they can do. Now, Garage Door Express, I will say, is, not the cheapest. It's a step up from the cheapest, but we already been utilizing them, and they've already proven themselves to be available when we need them to be there to replace the doors, and they are local. With all these other different vendors on here, none of them are local to this area, except for maybe Cary has guys in this area. But again, a 24-hour service that we sometimes need to be able to get trucks in and out of the building. Garage Door Express has proven themselves to be there when we need them to be there.
Where's that David Allen from?
He is up by Reedsburg, I believe. I can tell you actually for sure in a second.
What's their service structure?
Everybody I talked to on here, because that was one thing I wanted to know, all claim to have a good service structure where they have guys on call that can, in their words, at least come look at it for the night to tell you what they can probably do in the near future.
A garage door can come and fix it.
Correct. And they have proven to do so.
So that's, there's a considerable, you're talking $13,000 different, but
The level of
the
service you're
service
getting.
is worth something.
Well, I'll take, for instance, it was 2 days ago, our main shop doors, how we get all of our trucks in and out of the shop area, the spring blew apart on that door. Moments notice just happened. Garage Door Express was there within an hour and had it working again. So lots to be said for that.
I've got a question, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, Mr. McKee.
What's the availability on these?
Everybody is in the same boat. Availability is several weeks on the average.
Okay.
Mr. Carroll, comments?
Yeah, a couple questions. I wondered how their warranties compare, and also the R ratings are fine, but if you're trying to keep a building warm, the air leakage is much more important. I wonder if there's any difference in how their edges seal.
Everybody is flush mounted against the wall, so all edges are sealed tight, and that can be found through any one of the vendors here. I can speak for what I've seen Garage Door Express do. Theirs are airtight. Warranty, it depends again on the manufacturer, what they offer. I will pick out a couple here that probably have that listed somewhere. Let's see here. Most of them have a 50,000 cycle plus rating on their doors, which is anywhere from 10 years. I think most of them are going to offer a several-year warranty on their equipment. Except for he doesn't.
I also didn't hear where David Allen is based out of.
David Allen is based out of Reedsburg on Groat Hill Road.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions? Does that satisfy your question, Steve?
Yes.
I believe most of the time warranties are
Pretty well cut and dry.
Yeah.
It depends on the component of the door. Some are going to offer you a lifetime warranty on particular components. Some are going to offer you maybe a 3-year on a motor. Some are going to offer a 1-year. It really depends on the manufacturer. From what we've seen with Garage Door, even if it's out of warranty, they've done whatever they can do to free it up. It just, in my opinion, it just makes sense to use Garage Door Express. They're here, they're local, and they're here like right now when we need them.
and they're county taxpayers.
What makes us think David Allen can't respond? They're 14,000 less.
David Allen is a smaller service, and again, they're clear up by Reedsburg, and from what I've talked to them, they do not have service guys really close to this area. So if we had a problem at 9 o'clock at night, we probably will not get anybody to respond before the next day at the bare minimum. Garage Door Express, I can get them there in the middle of the night if I have to.
All right, but these are going to be brand new doors.
Correct.
And our new equipment anymore is not as good as it was 30 years ago when these were put in, which, is that how old these are? Close to 30?
Yeah, probably 20 years old, 23, 25 years old, somewhere in that ballpark.
But I understand what you're saying, Steve. It's hard to justify that, but, if you put it over a 20-year period, once the service starts kicking in, yeah, I don't know. It's, tough to make that call.
Well, as it stands, I would have to go with David Allen myself.
Okay. Any further questions? Mr. Cosgrove, have to step out? Yeah, okay. We'll wait for a minute. Mr. Cosgrove will come back in. Mr. McGuire, any comments? I know they are down by you.
Well, yeah, I'll have to, if you want, I'll make a motion to go with Garage Door Express. I have to. They, like you said, they're taxpayers within our county. They're not just local, they're in our county. It's a big deal. And over the period of, 20 years, at $14,000 doesn't really make a big difference.
I'll second.
Okay. Yeah, I'll wait back. We've got a motion from Mr. McGuire, a second by Mr. McCooey. We are open for some more discussion to go with the Garage Door Express bid with the idea they are local, they are Richland County taxpayers. We have used them quite a bit already in 2023 and late 2022 with the garage door issues we've had. And I know, pretty sure, Randy, they installed everything here at the courthouse, on the ambulance building and the jail building. Yeah, Randy can testify to that as well. They've had issues with those doors, but
Just good business sense to use who's there. It's a little extra.
where was the Northland guys from? Well, we're waiting for Mr. Cosgrove to come back. I was just curious. Were they out of?
Perdisac.
Perdisac, yeah, saw it. Mr. Cosgrove, we have a motion on the floor made by Mr. McGuire, seconded by Mr. Cooey to go with the Garage Door Express. They are the ones that also did the doors, I think you're aware of, on the jail building here. So any discussion from you? Otherwise, I'm gonna call the vote.
I'm good.
All right. All those in favor of going with the bid from Garage Door Express signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Nay. One nay, noted by our secretary. It has passed. All right, thank you, everyone. I think we'll run over to Barb. Are you good with me bumping over to her?
Heck yeah.
All right. We're gonna jump to number 7, MIS.
Okay, so report quick,
Do you have anything in our packet, Barb? No?
not for the number 7, I do for number 14.
Okay.
There are a couple things on here. One of them is that one of my goals that we need to do is we need to get to a countywide printing contract. We have several departments right now that are ordering printers, getting printers. And if we're consolidating that, we're gonna lower our costs. We have bargaining power then with those vendors. So when you're on different committees, if someone comes to you with a printer, just please make sure that they've run back. Right now, we're quoting for highway, fair, sheriff department, and Simon's. So by bundling those together, we're gonna make a lot of savings. But then we have other departments that just purchased, and that kind of undermines a little bit. So what we'd like to do is get to a full countywide printing contract, if we can make that a goal. The other thing that I want to talk about is on 14, and that is a new county website. If you think back, last month I mentioned that there was problems with the database and zoning, and we needed to look at different options for their zoning permits. Now, Mike has opted not to do the permitting, which is fine. That's totally his prerogative. But I think that as a county, we need to move forward with our website. Josh, can you pull up 14A? We're gonna be clicking on a couple of links. So our current website, you're all aware of, you've seen it. It's not beautiful, it's functional. We need to change that. And so I went to 3 companies. I got quotes. These are 30,000-foot quotes. These are not firm. This is what it's gonna be. But if we look at the quotes that are on that document, you're gonna see a wide variety. Part of the thing that you have to keep in mind is Revise is a product that doesn't do the meeting management. It doesn't do as, well, they may, but we don't have a quote for that. They aren't quite the same as the other ones. So Josh, if you can click on any of the 3 links, any of those is fine. This is an example of revised work. They're a beautiful site. I don't have any problems with them, except for when we start looking at agendas and minutes, the cohesive nature of the website's not quite there. If we go back to the document, Josh, we're gonna open up 3 different samples. We'll go to Catalyst. We can go to Baraboo. They have, Catalyst is another one. This is a local city. And Jasper is another one that's good. And if we look at agendas and minutes on there, they allow the streaming right through their website. They have the calendar, and I know that this calendar was one of the visions of the committees and boards early on. This was what they wanted. This is what they can provide. But please remember that this comes with the meeting management. If you click on any of those links and just bring them up, actually go back to February, yep, and just any of them, click right on it. And that's a bad one, but that'll work. You get the packet and everything. The Bicycle Advisory Committee doesn't have a lot, but if you look at their other one, that's kind of advice. I guess you thought we had a lot of committees. We do not have a Bicycle Advisory Committee. But they all have their content. You can click right on it. It's very handy. I like this format. These people are also the ones that do our GIS. And so all of that data will flow directly back and forth without double entry. The other one that we are looking at, if you can go back to the 3rd option, is Civic Plus, and any of those are fine. They're all very similar. Milton is down near Janesville. These are okay. I'm not as in love with the look of them. The functionality is still the same. What I do not like about them is when you go to their forms, they're all PDFs. They are not fillable online, so you have to print them out and take that hard copy in. That is not the way we do business now as a culture. We fill it out online and it just goes in. Nobody wants to print something out. We want to be able to do it on our cell phones. All of these are, they adjust to your cell phone with. They're all good companies. I just don't like some of the ways that they do their forms and so on. It's not pretty. So if I had to pick a company, I would probably pick Catalyst, just because they're integrated with our GIS system. We're already doing business. They're willing to give us discounts. The prices that are on these are not the discounted prices. They're piecemeal prices, but I would rather come to you and have you expecting higher prices and come in low. Mostly what I'm coming to you with is just a brief presentation. I want to get your blessing to move forward on this project, and I will come back to you with more detail. Now, the other part that I want to be completely upfront with is Derek, the county clerk, is not sold on this. We have to do demos and so on so he can understand how this will affect his workflow. Any questions?
Anybody with questions for Barb?
Question.
Yes, sir.
I would have thought we would want to have some in-house meetings to make sure we know what we want and get all the input from all the users, all the departments, and not so much the look, but the functionality and tie in with what each department does. That way we can put out an RFP that is apples to apples and everybody knows what they're quoting on.
Usually websites aren't done on RFPs.
Say again?
Usually the websites aren't done on RFPs. We
Okay.
certainly could go that route, but they're usually just not. And the products that are out there are ones that, Civic Plus does Richland Centers. These are well vetted products and it's pretty standard. While we can ask every department what features that they want, they're pretty standard across every venue. I mean, we're willing to have those meetings. We're just, like I said, we're at the 30,000-foot mark.
Well, that's
And part
fine.
of the process is that we'll be working with every single department as we move along the process.
For today, you're just asking to be able to move forward with it, right, Barb?
Right, to be able to continue work on the project with a commitment from the committee that this is what they want.
Well, yeah, I think we need a new website, no question. I'm just saying that we should in-house decide what functionality we want as we go forward.
And I can certainly bring this up at the next department head meeting, if you think that would be appropriate.
I do.
Okay, I mean, I'm very happy to do that and put that on. I'll email Clinton and ask him if he can do that.
Sounds good.
Richard, anything?
Nope.
Committee in here, questions for Barb? You want that in the form of a motion to keep moving forward? So move. Mr. Cosgrove? Seconded by Mr. Cooey to give Barb the permission to continue moving forward on researching websites and working with department heads if they need to change anything from what's already on our website. So, any other discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay? All right, move forward, Miss Barb. You have a couple things with Cheryl, I believe. Right, Cheryl, we'll bounce over there and then Barb can take off if she needs to.
Yep, so I'm gonna jump down to E for the management report. County boardroom, apparently MIS had a vendor walkthrough for setup. So what's the status on that?
I wasn't aware this wasn't coming, but I can certainly give you that. We have not gotten any quotes, but we will be getting quotes for this. I've spoken with Clinton and had his approval to move forward on this project. We are getting Lifeline Video out of Platteville, who did the high school, and they also did the campus auditorium. They came in, took a look. We have not gotten a quote back. He said it would be 3 weeks before we get that back. They're willing to develop a system for us. Our goals are to develop a system that will not require an IT person in this seat. It will be started on an iPad by the chair or designee of a meeting, and they will literally start the meeting, and then as it runs, they'll be able to stop, pause the meeting, control any of the outside people to mute them. It'll really reduce MIS's need to be present. So while there is an investment, the cost savings in the long run is going to be there. Also, we have money set aside for this project, so it is budgeted. We just haven't gotten the right quotes yet.
Estimated timeline, Barb, for possible installation?
It would probably be September, October.
Okay. Any questions on that portion?
Which item on our agenda was this?
We're in under Cheryl's talking, what are you on, Cheryl? Courthouse or?
Courthouse maintenance or property, yep. Courthouse report.
Yeah, courthouse report. They're talking about the teleconferencing, videoing right here in the courtroom. They had somebody walk through. No bid is out yet. A couple weeks to get the bid. Cheryl is covering for Administrator Langrick.
Okay, got it. Thanks.
We're working on getting Cheryl out the door. She's got to go to another job yet tonight.
All right.
Not Cheryl, Barb,
Barb, yeah.
somebody. What else, more?
Okay, the only other one I had, the new council and the jail doors are going in. There's gonna be a new fob scanner project underway. I believe that's all happening soon, but can you give an update on that? And then are we adding some fob scanners or just replacing?
Yes, on all the above. The door access system that will be going in is underneath of the radio tower project. It is going out for RFP. It's not there yet. The RFP should be developed this week. That'll go out. Then once that comes back as part of the radio tower project, we'll be implementing that. The doors that will be on fobs will be the main front doors here and then down the sheriff's area and the server rooms. There is expandability with this system to do it through the courthouse, and the fobs that will be utilized are compatible with the systems that are used at Pine Valley, EMS, and HHS, and Simons. So one employee, if they have need to go throughout all the buildings, will have one fob.
Barb, when you say sheriff's department, are you talking the door by the cafeteria, or are you talking down the hall?
Yes.
Okay,
I don't know if the door by the cafeteria, I don't believe is in that.
okay.
It's the ones down the hall with the squad room, evidence rooms.
Okay, thanks.
Anybody with questions on the key fob? A little bit of an update, out for bids, basically. Good. Anything else for Barb before we let her leave? And
Nope, I think that's it.
okay.
Questions for her.
Well, Cheryl, as long as you're there, let's finish you, and then we'll finish highway and wrap up with Randy, or you and Randy on your
Yeah,
end.
we're gonna tag team here. The courthouse key thing, we'll start with that. That's A. We've got the inventory done. As Clint had told you last time, it's pretty liberal with the keys. Child support has had their locks replaced. It was part of their audit from the state that had to be done. And then I think we recommended Randy take one of those keys and replace the victim witness room lock. That one, you can pretty much walk up with a screwdriver and shove it in and it'll unlock. And then, so we still have those, the ammo room, judge's chambers, and the computer server room to rekey. When we get a little closer to where it's in our,
Why are we rekeying the computer server room? I wasn't
Because-
aware of that.
Clint put it on the list to have it done. Huh?
It won't be under a master?
It is under the master, but there's a lot of people that have masters that you don't even know.
Okay. So who would have access to that room? Because
Anybody that
that's a
has a key that was-
CGIS requirement.
It's what?
It's CGIS requirement that we have, we know who has keys and it's documented. They have to be fingerprinted. I mean, it's a big deal. That's why it's on fob access.
But doesn't it take a key as well?
No,
Yes, it does.
No.
One of them
One
does. One does, because I've had it
Okay.
open with a key.
okay.
One's,
The 911 closet does, yes. The one on the right doesn't.
one that's fob and
Mhm.
one that's key.
And there are keys that open it.
Yeah.
We'll let you guys work that out with Clint.
Thank you. So I think at the keying project, I believe maybe on short-term borrowing, like 2024. So when we get a little closer to that, we'll have conversations on if we want, what kind of key system we want to do and see if we can get some vendors in with presentations. Discuss the best way to do it because we've got a lot of doors to key.
Just a question. I guess my opinion, I don't know why we wouldn't fob everything and get rid of keys. Because then we can shut the fob off and we can restrict who, I mean, I realize it's probably a lot of money. I get that, but to me, we shouldn't even be dealing with keys anymore.
Right.
It just doesn't I mean, it requires changing batteries and stuff like that. I get it, but
But do the fobs have to be hardwired?
Well,
it
Yes.
depends. Not all of them would have to be hardwired because I got
Some are
fobs all over the
Wi-Fi.
place.
There's several options that way. I mean, either way, you're probably gonna end up having to replace the locks because you're not all on one system. You have Schlage on one side, a different brand on the other side. And you would still end up with some sort of a master key
And-
system, but you could override all that with fobs. And then you can add doors that are wireless that you would walk around program or have a pin pad, like you're saying with
got-
batteries. Yep.
I mean, basically, we got a hotspot you hit, and then it can control, we can hit any door in our plant, and the majority of them are remote. I mean, I would guess there's probably 5 of them that are hardwired, and the rest are all remote.
Yeah, all
So-
Wi-Fi.
To me, that would be the way to go, just so then you're not dealing, and then someone quits, you just kill a fob.
Right.
But I mean,
Right.
you don't have to worry about all this other, there's a lot of stuff you guys probably have that you don't just want everybody wandering around in, I would guess.
And within those systems, I mean, it's, when you program it, you could set the time parameter. So if they don't come back and wave their fob, like what you have at Schreiber, that fob just deactivates automatically without refreshing it and stuff like that. So there's a lot of options that way.
Yeah, you can make, we went from 7 days down to every day now, it's 24 hours or it's dead. So you gotta hit that hotspot to get back in. So you gotta go to one central location, which might be a burden to some people, the way they operate now, but it eventually would fix itself. But
Yeah.
I think it'd be a good way to go. If you're gonna go forward with that, get rid of keys because you'll never stop chasing keys.
Yeah. I'm gonna jump down to painting. The painter's coming next week to paint the conference room downstairs, so that's what we were looking to find out when stuff was coming into the county boardroom, so we can move furniture down there. We'll, I guess, have that discussion on what we're gonna do for furniture down there when it's set up. There's a window speaker been put into register probate.
Probate.
Yep, probate.
I did that already.
Yeah, that's been completed. And the dark sky review, there's a consultant, and maybe some of you are on this lane and zoning, but there's a consultant that will go around to all county properties and see if we are doing the dark sky lighting. I'm sure we're not, but he's a free consultant, so I gave him a map of all the properties and told him which ones didn't have lighting. In when he's around, he's gonna check out the lighting and assess it. So, see, I think that's it for me. I'm gonna let you take over.
Let's go back up to B, door replacement for the courtroom. We're working on our 3rd door since nobody can send us the right one. So that one's hoping it'll be here first part of next week for the entrance to the courtroom up here. Nobody can seem to get it right when I tell them I want a right swing or right hand outswing door. They send me left and left and left and so working on that. Window replacement. On the parking lot side, they've done 51 windows in the last 2 days. On that, they've replaced all the glass. And then there's still another 20 to do. And it's specialty glass. There's the arched windows and curved windows and tempered windows. They're just waiting on those to come in. And then they'll come back and put those 20 in. And then, let's see, what else do we have? Mailbox. All I gotta do is I gotta make contact with the mail lady, let her know that we're gonna be moving that to the 1st floor, so she'll have to come in from another entrance instead of entering from the 2nd floor on the east side of the building. So eventually that'll get moved downstairs. And then, the maintenance truck, thanks to Josh and the highway department, they donated a truck to me. It's quality, according to him. Just to let everybody out there in the world know that there was no money exchanged for that. It was donated to us. People are thinking that we're buying a brand new truck or a truck and we purchased this and county doesn't have any money. So just letting people know it was donated to me to use here because for the last 4 years, I've donated my vehicle with no mileage and no gas charged to the county. So now that's why I'm using this pickup. So just update on that. So.
Did the
that's-
DMV kiosk, has that been put in?
No, that was a discussion that Jeff, the treasurer, is working on that. So
Okay.
whether we're gonna put one of those in downstairs.
And back to Barb, I think, small courtroom video conferencing, any update on that?
No, we will be working, right now, the large courtroom has a video conferencing problem with one of the pieces of equipment. So we're focused on repairing that, and then we will focus back on the small.
All right, I think that covers that portion. Anybody with questions on what was presented from either Cheryl or Barb or Randy? Mr. Elder? Okay. Clint wanted us to make a motion to accept or donate.
Donate, you can call it that.
I'll make the motion.
Mr. Cooey makes a motion, Mr. Cockrove seconds it, that the highway department will be donating a vehicle to Mr. Nelson in the maintenance department here at the courthouse. Discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay? Okay. Logistics is done. Where are we at? We're back, eight. Number 8, highway. Josh, we're back.
All right, bear with me here. We'll pull up the monthly bills. So another not too bad month. We're slowly getting caught up on all the truck repairs. That's been our biggest downfall. We will see some kind of major repairs to a couple of them that the bills are finally coming in for now that the work has been completed. You'll see the pickup truck that we purchased from Sleepy Hollow, the one that we approved after last month's meeting. That was one of the big ones. Otherwise, everything else is pretty self-explanatory. And then garage door express installation of those 2 doors, which we did underneath emergency repairs, 23 grand on those 2. Otherwise, nothing too far out of the ordinary besides a lot of parts. Mr. Chair.
Any questions on the bills as presented? Good. Mr. Cooey makes a motion to approve the bills as presented. I'll second that. All those in favor of paying the bills as presented signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay? Okay, bills are done. Did we do 9?
Nope.
I didn't think so. Cheryl, was that you?
That would be Mr. Wendell.
Mr. Wendell. Oh, Mr. Wendell. Wake up, Mr. Wendell.
Wasn't asleep, but definitely working on some other stuff. So the proposed change to the committee structure document, it came about as a result, as you know, you recently voted on the approval of asking the UW system to remove East Hall from the agreement so that it could be used for some other use. Through the process of that, it became clear that there are a couple exceptions to this committee's oversight of the county's buildings and property. The land governed by the UW agreement is one of those exceptions. Apparently there's some highway stuff that may be accepted as well. And so Chair Brewer has directed me to craft a policy that this board would implement that would also require probably a change to the committee structure document for situations where a building or land which currently falls under an exception, which is soon to not fall under that exception any further. During that transition process, the authority to dictate what would happen with that building would return or be granted to this committee. even preempting whatever is going on with the proposed building. So taking East Hall for an example, once we passed that resolution indicating that we're going to be asking the campus to remove, or the UW system to remove that building from the agreement, we know that that building is no longer going to be subject to an exception in the committee structure document. But if I were a party that were negotiating with the education committee about what to do with that building, and I found out that the minute I approve, or the minute that the contract changes, an entire separate committee gains authority over it, I'd be very hesitant to make any deals. So to ease that transition and make sure that there's a clear process, that's what we're proposing to do.
Clear as mud for most of us, but I've heard it a couple times. But question for Mr. Wendell.
And I'll say I've been looking at the committee structure document, so I know what it says pretty clearly. Generally speaking, this committee has oversight as to the utilization and management of all county buildings and lands, with limited exception.
Correct, and I think some of those exceptions are listed, correct? For the people that haven't heard this spiel before.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Mr. Carroll.
as an outcome of this effort, could we look to see an actual inventory of all the buildings and things that are under our oversight, since I've never seen one?
So that is more something that's on the books that just hasn't been done. In the committee structure document, let me find it for you so I'm not guessing what it says. So section E, subsection B of the committee structure document, this committee is to provide oversight and advice regarding a perpetual inventory of the real estate and buildings owned by the county. So there isn't one, as far as I'm aware, and so far as Clint is aware, and I'm pretty sure he would know, but there should be. And that, I'm sure, is on the list of things that we're going to take care of. It's just not what we're here to discuss today.
Mr. Chair, I actually just created a list since the last meeting where this came up, of properties that the county owns.
Cheryl for the win.
Yeah, I think Mr. Cosgrove remembers, we had seen something, but it's been a few years ago, probably 4 years ago minimum, but it wasn't real accurate. But where it came from, and I don't even know who presented it, but it was the property committee, but back when we were just a property committee.
So I can bring that list to the next meeting. I'll give it to you ahead of time to review. I think I've got most of them covered. The only questions I think there was, we had some questions about down along the river. There's a wayside and a boat landing owned by the state, but the county maintains it. That was, so I'm not sure how that works, but it's not county property. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
could we then add that to next meeting's agenda to review that and agree what our actual inventory is?
Yeah, I think Mr. Wendell's gonna continue to work on his document, and yeah, Cheryl will continue to work on hers. She'll have it for us prior to the next meeting, with the idea, if there's something in your area, see if you can check it out, because I know it was brought by our former highway commissioner, another corner piece not far from that boat landing that's actually owned by the highway department, but would never be saleable. It's not big enough. What we're ever gonna do with it, who knows, but.
All the parcels, including road right of way, I think there's like 300 and some parcels.
So yeah, that'll be on next month. And Mr. Wendell, anything else for us, or what, we don't have no action on this yet, right?
No, no, the Rules and Resolutions Committee has directed me to develop this policy. It would eventually go to them anyway. But considering we're talking about changing your committee, it was felt that we should probably, let you guys know that was happening.
Thank you.
sorry, I'm still confused on what we're even doing here. So we're not gonna be over certain properties. I can get that. Is that what this is doing? What is this doing?
Sure.
I
So,
don't understand, but.
and going back to the East Hall example, just because it's the easiest one. As it stands right now, per the terms of the committee structure document, oversight and utilization of East Hall is governed by the Education Committee. However, once it is removed from the UW agreement, which the board has asked for permission to do, it would immediately revert to this committee in terms of authority and things like that.
That makes sense. I understand now. I was confused that we were in control of it and the campus wasn't in control. I don't know, it must have came in my mind backwards or something.
Hopefully this will mitigate that confusion in the future.
Thank you.
Any further questions for Mr. Wendell? I think we're good till next month, sir.
I think that's it from me. So I will be signing off.
All right, thank you.
Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.
You too. All right, now where are we at, Josh? Are we to 13?
I think so.
I don't know, I got a lot of scribbling on this sheet of paper, but go for it.
Okay, so everybody knows about equipment availability, that it's just tough to get anything right now. So looking to maybe get a jump start on what I was proposing to put in the budget for next year, and that would be a wheeled excavator. We do have 2 wheeled excavators and we use them day in and day out. I would like to replace the oldest model that we have that is beginning to show a lot of signs of wear and tear, and looking to upgrade that piece of equipment. Now, with what I've kind of stated before, we kind of want to stay away from an outright purchase of the piece of equipment and do something under a lease or a rental program. So working with Sourcewell and utilizing airing, and again, Sourcewell takes care of our whole bid process for us. They make everything apples to apples. They've already pre-selected who they're gonna have supply a piece of equipment. All we gotta do is work directly with them. We're guaranteed the best price. So working with airing, what they'd be willing to do is if we were to accept and put an order in now for a piece of equipment for next year, we could do it underneath a lease with a, how I want to state that, with a end of term value price to trade back in, and generally at the end of 6 years, you'd own the piece of equipment for 6 years. You pay a lease price of just under $50,000 per year. And then at the end of 6 years, you turn that piece of equipment in with the fair market price, and then you'd get another piece of equipment. So you wouldn't actually retain ownership of it besides a lease. Now, by doing this, we would not be making any payments in the year of 2022. We would not make a payment until we receive the new piece of equipment under contract in 2023. Again, a wheeled excavator, you see them all the time. They're just a large, about 40,000 pound piece of equipment. They look like a backhoe. They drive up and down the road on wheels. We use them all the time in our ditching and brushing projects. So it's a highly utilized piece of equipment. The only problem with that is there's not a big market of those out there. There's only a few companies that actually still make them, and Volvo would be one of them. So today I'm not looking for, let's go ahead and do this, but I'm asking your opinion and seeing if it would be worthwhile if I bring this maybe to next month's meeting with the price that we could accept and move forward for a purchase for next year. Now, granted, under 50,000 is another thing that we would just cover in our revenues, basically underneath the equipment budget. We wouldn't have to identify it when we're putting our budget together for 2023. Mr. Chair.
23, 24, I assume.
Oh, I'm sorry, 23 leading into 2024, 24. Sorry, I'm off here.
That's when we ordered it. It was funny too.
That's
We
right.
just haven't got it yet.
Yeah. Questions, thoughts from everybody here or there on online?
I'm a big fan of not purchasing equipment. I don't see the need. I always revert back to bulldozers. They set 325 days of the year, and then we use them for that 40 days or whatever left. I just don't see the sense. And this is a little different, but on the same token, you're basically every 5-6 years, you're going to upgrade, and it's not costing you $500,000.
Correct. And that's what my goal is for the highway department, is to get rid of a lot of this inventory that we have on piece of equipment, because we have a couple hundred different pieces of equipment, and the cost and ownership alone is just, you can't agree with it. So I'm trying to eliminate so much of the inventory that we have and just go into more or less a rental or a lease. That's basically like a rental program to keep our overall investment in equipment low and to keep our maintenance low and keep us with a rotation with good equipment. Those are next up on the hit list, but that'll be another year or two down the road.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
I leasing, renting, that's fine, but I didn't quite catch if this would be a competitive bid or how we would select where it comes from.
So that's through Sourcewell, which they already do the competitive bid process for us. They supply us with meeting minutes, anything that we request that meets our legal standards. And they've already pre-selected Airing as would be our supplier, which represents Volvo. So all the bid process, everything's taken care of for you, which we did that when we did our sand and salt shed. We went through Sourcewell and we saved ourselves a lot of headache, and we just had to work with the one vendor. Keeps everything apples to apples, everything fair and legal across the board.
What is their cut when they do that for us?
They do not make a cut. They are a government-run agency out of Minnesota. They do not make a profit off of this.
Okay, I guess I wasn't familiar with that. I'd like to learn more about it.
They do have a good website. Just look them up online and you can kind of read about them, or you, if you want, give me a call and I'll show you about them, or come to the office and I can go over everything with you there. But we have utilized them in the past, and a lot of companies, even locally, are starting to get into Sourcewell and win the bid, so then we can bypass having to do a bid process and go directly through them. I believe Simpson's Tractor is part of it, along with St. Joe's here in town as well.
Okay, thanks.
Mr. McGuire.
Did you say that was a government-run business? Is it a nonprofit?
Sourcewell is a nonprofit, government-run agency.
I would guess these equipment suppliers or whatever must pay something to them.
It's
a membership.
Somebody's paying.
Somebody's paying.
That's
It's a membership, but the only way they get into Sourcewell is if Sourcewell accepts them as the lowest bidder. That's the only way they become part of Sourcewell. I've ran into companies that would have loved to been part of Sourcewell, but they did not meet the bid requirements or weren't the lowest price.
I think I've read into them when I did looking for windows, and I think it's the vendors that actually pay in the fees. That's where they make the money.
Which is fine.
Yeah, it works. Yeah, it works great for us because it saves us a lot of headache of trying to make everything apples to apples. That all is done for you. You just jump that step and go down the road and buy your business.
Good. Do we want that in a motion, or do you?
As long as we discussed it, I'll bring
Yeah.
the payment information, lease agreement and everything to next month's meeting. And then per conversations with Mr. Langrick, we'll take it to like finance personnel to at least let them know what we're planning on doing with next year's money.
Works for me. Are we done? Future agenda items. We have one already, the county property ownership. Cheryl's gonna work on that. Anybody else out there have something they would like to put on? Mr. McGuire?
Yeah, I was approached by some voters. And the boat landing across the river that's in Iowa County is quickly sifting in, or what do you call it?
Could you please use your mic?
Use your mic, miss. It's silting in.
Mike, but it was a long ways away. They would like to know if we could get a boat landing on the Richland County side of the new bridge project down there. They've got a year and a half to think about it, so I said I'll bring it up to this committee here. We under word land, right? So
You have to keep it.
maybe there's a different committee possibly that deals with it, or what?
I think you'd have to go to the DNR first
Yeah.
to start the process.
In my experience, anything with the boat landings within Richland County that we maintain, everything has to go through the DNR first. And the first point of contact for those would, I believe, be Aaron Palmer.
The boat landing that exists on the Richland County side down there now is just really nothing but a bank with a bunch of stones, and it's good for putting canoes in. That's about all.
Yep, and I actually do need to make correction. It's not Aaron Palmer, it's Andy Barta. That's the guy that's in charge of the DNR for this area.
Yeah, water.
He's the water guy, right?
Yeah, if they want, I don't know if there's. Yeah,
That is something their committees in that county would have to address.
There'd be more to learn about it, but I was wondering maybe we put it on our agenda and then gather more information.
Cause right now, the one by Mark's house is maintained by land conservation, right? Well, maintained.
It's actually maintained by the highway department. but-
Maintained by highway, but kind of overseen by land conservation.
Yeah.
But I know it's a whole process, if you remember everything Muscatine went through to even get a new,
I don't
yeah.
even know.
it would never happen in the time frame that the bridge is getting built, unfortunately, because Muscatine had an existing, the one on the east side, just to replace that, I think was a 5-year project,
Something like that.
just to get all the approvals, but it's not a bad idea. I mean, it should have been in the bridge design. You know, that would have been the time somebody should have brought it up, because now they've got temporary roads in there and stuff, but it doesn't mean that it can't be looked into, so.
But that goes to land conservation, right?
I would think so,
Yes, that would be handled through land conservation.
yeah.
Because I'm trying to get them to fix that one and all. Yeah, since we got on there. It ain't getting much progress, but we
No.
got some new blacktop last year, 2 years ago, whatever it was.
Anything else from you guys out there on TV land?
No,
Not good.
Snowing up there in Vernon
That's why
County?
that's why I'm here.
All right, motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion.
Mr. Cooey, Mr. Cosgrove, all those in favor of adjourning till next month signify by saying aye.
All right.
Aye.
aye.
All right, good night, everyone.
Who do I gotta tell, the county boy?